for the family that we have. All of us, I mean, Dacius is sitting there, but like we're all at this table with our friends and we're just talking and having fun and talking about like memories, and that wouldn't have happened without our parents and how they raised us, and you know, the church that they brought us up in. And I just think that we're all really blessed by both of their perspectives, their interests, because we're all big nerds. And yeah, I'm really happy that everybody's here to celebrate and recognize that. So thanks for coming, everybody.
Let's go, Lulu.
I actually have something written down. When I think of my parents' love, my mind eventually drifts to how rough their dating relationship was. It's two complete opposites. I mean, who knew they would ever marry? But here we are, 25 years later with 5 kids. It just shows you how strange love can be.
An acronym poem.
Louder!
Okay. Yeah, all right, cool. M for mischievous, like the time me old pop lifted my mother near the edge of Mount Scott. A is for ambivalent. He doesn't really care if you take some extra dessert, more than your fair share. C is for calm. Next time he'll lick it, the next time he scratches off a lottery ticket.
R. Where's the R?
Oh, I did miss it. Go back. His name's not actually Mac, it's Marco. Right. R is for really? Did you really just pass gas right as soon as we stepped out of mass? And then K is for keen, as in she'll notice you sleep in between the books she stacked up to read. R is for rant. She's got a lot to say about the video games we enjoy every day. I is for intelligent. She really is smart. She can tell you how many popsicles she's found for a start. S is for sweet. Such a kind soul. Unless you dye your hair red or so I've been told. T is for treat. That's what she likes to eat. Celery and carrots are really quite neat. E is for excited. It's the opposite of scorn when it's Saturday and Pop makes her a bowl of popcorn. And N is for never, as in never again will my mother play Scrabble with her dear husband. All right, so there you have it, friends. I hope you thought it was funny. Now we move down the line to a cute little bunny.
This is too tall for me. Okay, I think...
Swivels there, you can do that.
Okay, cool. Okay, I have 2 cards.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Alright. I hope everyone here knows who I am.
No.
My name is Bunny, daughter of Mark and Kristen, and that is something I will always say with pride. Okay. The funny thing about family is that you can never choose who you get stuck with. You might get placed in a loud home with lots of laughing and lots of yelling and lots of love. And you might get placed in a more quiet home where actions speak louder than words, where everyone has a job to do and is expected to do it, where one day you say you like a certain type of food, and the next day, whoa, you have it for dinner? Man, what a coincidence. You might get placed somewhere in between, or somewhere totally different, but there are some things that should be true for every family. And these are respect for one another, the ability to have a good time, and abounding love. And I have always believed that my family has attained these qualities, not to say we just somehow happened upon such a treasure, but to say we did work for it. Well, when I say we, of course I mean my parents and, and their singular love story. No two people could be more different. And no two people that I've ever seen could be a more unlikely couple. But I asked my mother one time why she married my father, and among other things, she said I could feel it was God's will. And I believe her. I believe all of us created by this marriage, and all of us brought together by this marriage, and even those of us who were saved by this marriage would believe her too. Countless goods come from true love, and looking around this room at all of our friends and all of our family, I think I can name a few.
That's okay. I'll get Dacius. He's not.
Oh, I'm next.
You are.
Yeah, take it!
I was gonna say it was too short for me if you were. First off, I'd like to start by congratulating Mommy and Daddy. Man, it's a very special occasion for you two. I can only imagine how excited you were leading up to this day, and I really hope that it turned out exactly the way you wanted it to.
You're welcome.
And as for what they've done for me and what I like to think about when I think about my time I spent at home growing up, I definitely always think about the faith that both of them exemplified. Of course, growing up in a very Catholic house, there are very clear goalposts to get to, namely the sacraments, the First Holy Communion, your first confession, confirmation. And I'd like to tell a couple stories, one for each parent, what they did to help me along to those goals. So, for my dad, he's not been, I guess, fully inducted into the Catholic faith since he's married my mom. He participates, goes to Mass every week, and I believe that helped dramatically with the way that we all turned out and how we all grew to love God. My dad's example, which he also got from his own father, is very strong, and something that I think about often, and it's something that I really hope that I can exemplify in the future. When it came to my confirmation, I was not the most dutiful or the most vigilant in preparing for it, and laziness is something that I've struggled with even past that date. And while I was struggling to kind of get my act together, I was driving with my dad someplace. I believe he was preparing for a family gathering, and I was just complaining. I was just complaining about all the work I had to do, the name that I had to pick out, the research that I had to do, the volunteer work that I had to be doing. And my dad, he sort of forced me to decide or to choose to be a man. He said, well, do you want to go forward with this? Do you want to be a Catholic? It's that kind of question that just makes you stop and really think about how you've been conducting and carrying yourself this whole time. And when I said yes, the way he posed his question, that yes really meant it. So I hope that I got my act together, at least for that confirmation. And when I chose the name of St. Paul the Apostle as my confirmation saint, I usually think about my dad when I think about that name too. As for my mom, we're going back a little bit earlier to my first Holy Communion. This is a story that I need to be told about rather than remembering. But I wasn't, growing up and very young, I was a bit rowdy at the church. And this is something that I guess was a very persistent problem. Well, when I was preparing for my first Holy Communion, my mom asked me if I thought I was ready. To which I said, yeah, I think I'm ready, my little, very young self. And then my mom, in a very similar way to what my dad posed to me, gave me a very serious reply. I don't think you are. And I guess to a very young child, forced me to recollect everything that I had done up to that point in my short life. And so when I prepared further for my first Holy Communion, I'm sure that I prepared much more earnestly than I had been. And I believe that's when I really started paying more attention at Mass, and really trying to pay more attention to my faith. In conclusion, I don't know where I would be without the strong example that my parents had given me. Time and time again, I think about all my shortcomings and my weaknesses, and I know I can always come back to a couple of the strongest examples I could ever think of in the Catholic faith. So I want to thank you very much for sticking it out for 25 years and giving me one of the best childhoods, one of the best learning experiences of my life. Thank you.
School today. I suppose I should take a moment to acknowledge my 5 wonderful children.
That's not the...
But who wants to hear a parent go on about how awesome her kids are?
Me!
No one. No one. So, this is going to be about my husband, Mark. A week ago last Wednesday was our 25th wedding anniversary. The day started out as usual. I woke up alone. Mark was still at work. And when he got home, he found me, he gave me a little kiss, and he wished me happy anniversary. And then he went to bed on the basement couch because his feet were bothering him. They cramp up a lot, and he likes to push them up against the side of the couch to relieve the pain. And I went to work. And when I got home, he was taking his afternoon nap. And around 8 o'clock he got up, and we watched one of our favorite shows, Farscape, which is the best science fiction on TV, by the way. And afterwards, he got ready for work, and I got ready for bed. That was our 25th anniversary. And looking back now, it seems oddly appropriate that we spent it in that way. It vividly showed me, without any drama, or at the trip to Hawaii or the San Diego Comic-Con, what a gift my life with Mark is. How cozy and safe he's always made me feel. How reliable and how loving he is. Of course, there are times when we drive each other crazy. But even that helps me to appreciate last Wednesday even more. It was a nice day. It could have been a really bad day, but it was a nice day. If I had to think of one word to describe my husband besides butthead, I would use the word sacrifice. My husband sacrificed his single life and his beloved home in Lawrence, Kansas, to move to St. Genevieve and marry me. He sacrificed a normal working day to work nights for the entire span of our marriage, so that we didn't have to put our kids into daycare, and so that I could homeschool them. For years, he's cooked nearly all of the meals. He's done all the shopping. He's taken the kids to all the field trips that he dreams up almost every month. He's well known around town for being very sweet and kind. And I know that if I asked him right now to run to the gas station and buy me a Mountain Dew slushie, he wouldn't hesitate. He'd just say,
Okay. What size?
For the past 2 years, he's dealt with almost daily pain. All too often, I see the suffering on his face, even when he sleeps. The grimace of pain is there. But he never complains. Never. For the past year, he's dealt with the loss of feeling in his feet. The doctor screwed up, but he never once got angry. He almost died from the wrong medicine, but if you asked him about it now, he would just look at you and laugh it off. He is a genuinely good man. I am in awe of his faith and trust in God. I want nothing more than to spend more time with him. I wish I could somehow put him in my pocket and take him with me wherever I go. He is my better half. I might not be lost without him, but I am definitely in a better place when he's by my side. I love you with all my heart.
You got your work cut out for
First off, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming here and celebrating with us on our 25th anniversary. Some of you came across the state, some of you came across a couple of states. We love all of you and thank you for coming. And I want to say happy anniversary to my amazing wife. Thank you for being the mother to our fun, silly, and industrious kids. It is because of your dedication, amazing organizational skills, and sacrifice of time that our children have become the people they are. Only God knew 30 years ago when I saw your ad in the University Daily, Kansas, that I would meet this faithful woman and we would marry. As an aside, she wasn't advertising to meet somebody. She was advertising to have people gather with her to pray for peace. But somehow it wasn't a very long ad, but it just stuck in my mind, and like a couple years later we were talking about it, she was like, that was me. I'm like, whoa. Chris, thank you for introducing me to Prog Rock, books I'd never read before, like Betsy Tacy and The Mirror of Her Dreams, A Man Rides Through, and thank you for all sorts of games that I never would have played on my own, and most importantly, a Catholic worldview. Your super resolve and persistence is evident in the way you keep in tip-top shape, and it's also evident in how you homeschooled our 5 children for so long. Thank you for being my wife and mother to my kids. I love you.